Hi, everybody. Very good morning. Is my voice audible? Please confirm. Okay. So, I'm just sharing my screen. Today, I'm just taking a complete review of what we have done till today so that we are in sync and there is no missing in understanding. Basically, we are going to touch upon Angular material side from the beginning till today, till yesterday, whatever we have done. We are just going to take a quick review. It is from starting of the project till the whatever we have added modules, etc., etc. We'll take a quick review of what we have done today. So, anyway, happy Holi to all of you. So to start with, initially, so we started with the new project. So first is the Angular material. I started my folder. My folder was upskill is the folder name. In this folder, I use ng. First is I install the Angular CLI, Angular basic CLI, all that is installed. So that is where I started. Node is installed, Angular is installed. That is the basic requirement. I'm opening the Node.js command prompt, and ng new is what I have hit with the project name. The project name is, say, for example, SF project 2 is what my project name is. So ng new FS project 2 is what we created with. So it is the installing the Angular project now. Angular routing, I always default use yes. CSS, yes. So it is preparing the file. So this is what we have done. So once it is prepared the file, we installed Angular material, that is ng add @angular/material. So it will check the compatibility of the Angular parent. According to that parent, it will install the Angular material. That is what system does. So it is installing the project now. Once the project is ready, we are now installing the Angular material. First is I need to go inside the project. So FS project 2. This is the project we created. In this ng add Angular patch material. I have added Angular material. This will ask me to do the basic stuff like making sure that I have the CSS, everything. So according to the compatible material, it is installing Angular 13. So material 13, yes, I like to proceed. Right? Would you like to proceed? Yes, it will. We have added. Now it will ask for a CSS. We have used Deep Purple. Yes. So it is the CSS5 we are loaded. Angular material typography. Yes. Angular material typography uses Roboto as a font. Animation by default. Yes. So that also we are adding. Then he updates the package.json. This is done. Once this is done, we actually wanted to create a module with routing. All that we have done. First is we go to the FS code editor and open this project. FS code editor and open this project. I am opening a new window. I am opening this project. It will be clear empty project. So I open with the folder D drive upskill in that project F2, project 2. So this is the project, Angular project created. In this Angular project, I have an app component. So the JSON is the place, angular.json is the place. If you want to do a changes here, you can do the changes here. So if you want to optimizer, build optimizer, default is absolutely fine. But in case you want to override the default, you can override. For example, this purple you don't want, you want to change, go to this place, see the name of the other CSS, you can add that CSS here instead of doing it over here. So that is the place where you can do this. Another important place, generally this TS config, where the valid declaration for source map true, no file through int switch, etc. Library, DOM library is very important. Target is ES0 2020 is what the target they have given default. Strict injection parameters true, strict input access modifiers true. If you make it strict templates true, if you make it false, then it will not validate that. If you don't give the what do you call variable declaration, it will not validate. You can change all this and you can see for yourself. So whether what you want, where you want the output directory to be, all that is given here. So you can customize here how you want to do it. Compile on save, that means it will immediately compile on save. So whether you want that to be enabled or not, you can decide what you want to do. These are all part of TS config JSON and Angular JSON. Angular JSON talks about how you want to take the build, whether production build, development build, testing build. Accordingly, there is an environment variable, it will replace. So replace the environment variable. In case of production, replace the environment variable with environment.prod.ts. Whereas if it is a dev environment, development, you don't replace anything. Default is development. So all that you can manage through this place. So it will allow, it is having a flexibility of managing different scope. So currently the architect build output path is project 2. This folder underneath project, underneath it will go as a production builder. This is a production build, right? So all these configurations are available. Without configurations, Angular will not take any of the decision. Your decision is always depending on the configuration that is available in the system. Browser, this is used for multiple support of browsers, older version of Firefox, Chrome, etc. All these are taken care here. So by default, last -1 version he supports at the time of release of Angular version. So Angular version release and browser mapping is all closely taken into consideration. So browser version support is coming from here. Right, so these are all what he supports. Polyfills are something which is generally used for non-compatible things. You can define your own polyfills TS. Polyfills TS are generally used for compilation purpose. So that is used accordingly. So you can go through this, but we don't generally get into this now. For our day-to-day things, it is not required. For advanced options, multiple what do you call there are some situations where you want to control the languages, Chinese language, etc. Then there may be an important things that you need to set up here, because you want to have your own compiler or your own conversion. Very advanced situation, not part of your normal standard ASCII support. Please note, Angular by default supports the multilingual support also. So that is also supported. If time permits, I'll touch upon on the end of the session, not now. So by default, Angular supports any language conversion. You just choose the language, automatically it will convert the data, provided you use the default language options available with Angular. Anyway, so whether it is Chinese, French, etc., anything it can support. Only thing is you need to ensure the proper dictionaries are maintained. If you want to go with default Angular dictionary also, you can go with. I will explain that later, not now. That's a different topic altogether. Okay. So with this, we started. When we go into the app, by default, app module is available. we don't generally touch app module. We just remove the content that is there. It's only a placeholder and can be replaced. That is what. Delete the template below to get started with your project. This is only for heads up to give you a quick start so that he doesn't want to show you a blank page. In our case, we don't want all this. We want only router outlet is what we need. Router outlet is what we need. Until then, I can remove this. Router outlet is the one which redirects that to our proper place. So from this point, what we did is we installed our new component, new module with routing. We enabled routing. We did two modules. One is login module, another is register module. So these two modules we added. So that I'm just going to do now. I just save this. First, for creating a module, easy to do that is through this one, project mode, right? You can do a compilation and make sure there is no error before even you start the things. You just do a ng-serve, make sure it is able to publish without any error. So accidentally, if anything happens also, we'll come to know stage by stage you cover so that debugging becomes easier. Right? It is now compiling the data. Right? It is just to ensure it compiles. I don't have to check it. I just want to ensure that it is compiling, because even if I go to the browser and do the local host, you will only see a empty page because we removed all the content. So if you can notice here, there is no lazy loading that you have seen yesterday, because we are now going to start with the multiple modules, multiple routing. That is where the lazy loading starts. That means initially it will only load this component. This component doesn't have anything, so very less load. So that is why it is loaded with default vendor, that is the default query size, right, etc. That is what it is done. If I just control C, if I put a ng build, this is the actual build process. If you put an actual build, you can see how that pages are changed. Now it will go into a dist folder. We are not touched upon this earlier. We'll talk about this once we have a back-to-back integration done. So it is just doing this. There is a difference between ng-serve and this build. This is the compressed build, whereas the above one is a development build. Now you can see that vendor and all is not there. Vendor.js 2.34 MB, whereas now you can see it is only 79.66 KB. Because for whatever we have currently configured, we only need this much of a JS files. You can see all main.js, styles.css, polyfills.css, runtime. Everything got compiled. That is what you call. It is all uglified, simplified. So 2.94 MB in the development environment has become now 79.66 KB. So this is the size that is being loaded onto the end user browser. So it is quite fast. We generally support up to 2 MB of file. He generally doesn't give any warning. That is, he says it is okay. But this is where the splitting of module plays an important role. So this is the one which gets loaded upfront. Whenever a user requests a page, this is the component that gets loaded. So it will be pretty fast. I'm going back to creating a component. Our aim is to create a component, to create a module with component with routing concept. So for that, you have to be in the project ng generate either component or module with routing model. With routing I want to create, because remembering the syntax is very difficult. Unless otherwise you have some modules created, cut and paste those, that is fine. Even still we do cut and paste. Sometimes that's why we don't remember sometimes the basics. So the reason is we generally, once the initial setup is done, we do keep doing a cut and paste and then proceed. So that all project, the base page will almost more or less remain same, easy for us to penetrate into the actual core requirement of the project. Name of the component, in our case, login is the first component. So this is where we want to go. So I create a module. I create a module with the support of routing. It has added. Now I want to create a component, ng generate component C. I can give login. So that means component I'm creating. So it will, login is the name. It is on the same name. So it will just update the login module dots. So it is now pre-created. If you go back to your things, you can see now login component got created and login routing got created, login module dot created, all these are created. So this is done. The another important thing is now we need to establish the routing. We need to tell the app module, whenever user access the page, please come to the login page. I need to convey that information. To convey that information, I need to ensure the routing module of app. Here, I need to tell him, please load. As soon as you come here, you please load the login module by default. Whatever you want to do it by default, you can add it under the part of app routing module. This will ensure that the default module gets loaded. So in here, there are two important things. We are now talking about access in the, for example, I just go back. I'll just start the service, ng serve. I'm starting the normal default requirement. So whatever I give, like ng serve or anything, that is default configured in the Angular material underneath package.json. Please remember, it is all part of the package.json. ng is not part of the package.json. If you want to run anything that is part of the package.json, you can use npm run. This scripts are executed through npm run. npm run start, it will automatically do ng serve. npm run build, ng build. npm run watch, ng build with watch configuration. With this development configuration, it will run. For example, I just come out, npm run start. It is equivalent to ng serve. It is started with npm run. So npm run in turn calls the scripts that is in the pg package.json. So it will start that package.json. It will load this version. That is what the version you see it here. F project 0.0.0. So that is the project it is starting with. So ng serve, ultimately it calls the ng serve. When I directly call the ng serve, it is nothing to do with the package.json. If I want to execute the data in the package.json, then I can create any line here and I can do that. So that is also available. So both are same. So if I go to the local host, you can see nothing because we removed the existing, but we have not defined our routing. So it is an empty page because we removed from the HTML, app.html, the content. Because of that, it doesn't execute. So anything that you give it in the app.html, that will be retained. For example, I just say here, I just say header. I call it as H1, sorry. H1. Just for our understanding purpose, I'm giving this H1. My app is a first project 2. Just I say this here. I save it. compilation will happen. By default, you can see my app is FS project is always available. I'm not changing this. Now I'm setting the routing. So in routing, as I said, I want to call the uh, login. So routing always starts with collection of JSON. So this is why we have learned JSON before. Path, colon. I have to tell the path. If it is empty given, then load children. Load children. Sometimes I don't remember the syntax. So I copy paste the syntax because it is very difficult for me to remember the syntax. So somewhere it will be there in one of the project. I take from that project. All these are backend projects that we deal with. I can do from FS project 1 also because that is also having. So I don't want to open it here. I open it in the next window. I go with FS project 1, children, app component, routing modules, children, import. It is a function. I just copy paste this here. This is very important. This syntax is import module where the location of the module is. Then it is a promise. Promise with M. It is a arrow function. Load this module. By default, if nothing is selected, you come to the login module. If user types in login, then also I say login here. Very important for you to understand this. This is how the path getting set. Path can be different, module name can be different, it doesn't matter. So then wildcard, if user types something that is not relevant, that is not available. If I don't do that, what will happen? If I don't do that, so first is I put an empty screen. You can see what happens. I save the file, make sure that there is a compilation, there is no issue. You can see my project is FS1. This is empty project. Then if I put login, where is that? Oh, sorry. So you have given here, but login guy doesn't know where I have to be. Initially, you have given a path, everything is fine, right? Sorry, I'm in a different project. In a different project 2. So you have defined here path and login, that is fine. But this routing, this has to be as soon as I load the login module should know which component I need to load. So here again, it is curly braces, path. It is empty path. Here I don't have to give anything. Here I have to say component. Which component I need to load? Login component. The login component is what I need to load. As soon as I type here, please note import is already loaded. So login component, now I'm telling these two has to in sync. That app routing module and whichever module, respective module that you want to load, it has to be in sync. If this is not there, he doesn't know which component. He might have been loading the module, but he doesn't know which component in that module I need to load as a default. There can be multiple components within the same JS file. When I say that, within this TS file, I can have a multiple components. I need to tell system which component you need to load. That is what this defines. Here I don't have to give anything. I just give path. You define when this path is empty, that means you are already in the main routing, you load the login component. That is what it means. I am now again started. Now you can see here, my app is still exists. Login works is below that app. So anything that is predefined, you can define it in the app.component itself, possible. And login works comes below. So it depends on how you want to design the page. So if I redirect, that is what we have yesterday we have noticed that will complete that as well. So another module that I want to create is, I want to create the register module. So again, ng generate module, m is sufficient for module, say register, right? With routing, I can give routing anywhere, either in the end or beginning. I can give anywhere, hyphen routing. M denotes for module, C denotes for ng generate, G for generate, C for component, register again. Here I don't have to give anything. I just give the same name, folder name. He has created a component as well. Yesterday what we have done, in login page, we created one sign up, register button we created. For register button, we need to load button module, right? We just have to load button module underneath login module. Underneath the login module, this is my project 2. Underneath login module, underneath login.module.js, I need to load forms button module, mat button module. It doesn't come in the help, so I need to go from, either if you remember it, you type it, start typing it. If you don't remember, so angular material, this is where I want to go with. Angular material slash button is what I want to load with. So here, if I type here, whatever class is available, he will load it here. I don't want button as a component. I want as a module, the entire module I want to load. And then that button module, I need to copy paste as part of the imports. These are all very important to do. Then only in this component, when it loads, he loads the button module. In HTML, I just want to say here, instead of this, I just say button, close the tag. I call it as register. Here, I want to call it as mat raised button. Mat raised button. Color, I want to give primary. This is my color. I just wanted to give a button alone in this page. So it is a button. Button is not by default. As I said earlier, button is only a inline component. I want to ensure it is a block component. I need to use within the div, or better. Of course, everything can be controlled through CSS as well. I want to keep it in the center, align center. Because by default div is the full width, because it's a block component. So center, if I put, it will be horizontal center. It will show that particular component. And by default, it is all relative. That is, position is relative. So that means it will not overlap from the one screen to the other screen. So login module, I enabled login module. I have created a component with mat raised in the HTML. No change as of now in the login component. Actually, it will not work. It will not redirect to the register page. To redirect to the register page, I need to do the click event or directly redirect from HTML. Both are possible. For simple understanding, I want to give it as a register function. In this register function, I want to route. I want to route it. For routing, it is a constructor. It has to be, because it has to be loaded as part of the constructor, because it is a class. By default, class doesn't load anything upfront. I want the router module to be enabled. For enabling the router module, I need to now give it in the constructor private route. Private means it is available only for this particular class. That is, it's not available outside. Router colon router. So I want router to be used. Once I put that router, you can see automatically the import command is added. router command is coming from the Angular router. And in this register, now router dot navigate, go to that router name. But this router name currently not registered. So to register this routing, I can do it either in the login or I can do it as part of my app routing module. Either way, I can do it. So I can do it now. Path colon when router is clicked. Sorry, register is clicked. Register is the name that I'm giving here. This is the name you need to ensure that you configure it in the login app. This name has to match whatever the name I give here. It has to match it to the path here. Once you are here, load children colon import. Now I know the syntax. I can type it and then get whatever I want. So register. All helps are available. This helps is coming because of the Visual Studio Code, because he default supports the syntax of the Angular syntax, not Angular. These are all called syntax of modules, right? So then the ES6 component. So M with syntax, I just M dot register module. I just load this. So once I type, I can put it anywhere. Either I can, these are all registering the routes. I can do it the registration here, or I can do the registration at the login, whatever. Wherever you register, it is has to be unique. System ensures that it is unique. So that is what you need to take care properly working of the things. For register page to display, in routing of register, I need to load the component. So again, I need to, it is an JSON array, path, colon, empty string. So I have to do the not children here, component here. Which component I want to load? Register component. Register component is what I want to load. So in this page, this routing is a mandatory routing. For routing in landing page, I need to tell which component you need to load. For login routing page, I need to tell which login component he has to load. So I need to inform which component he has to load as soon as the module is loaded. So this also we have done. So now what we did, we have created one login page, and on that login page, we have created a button. On click of that button, click event I have not created yet. So click event now. I just call it as register. This is my click event. This click event is registered against component. So that component will, in component register function navigates to the routing, that is register. And this register is available as part of the app routing register. Because it is having here, it will load the children of register module, and that register module comes here and he sees that default I need to load the register component. Since it has to go load the register component, he comes to this register component. This is what the name of the component. This component, he loads it. Here he sees the HTML to be loaded and he loads that HTML here. And you will see the register works. I want to go back to the login. I can do that from register. I can create a button here. Div. Inside div button. Inside button, I call it as login. Right? This button, I have not added anything here. Click login function. So this login function, I want to create this component login function, right? I have to tell routing. So I have to create a constructor because routing is not visible for the register component. So I need to private because it is available only for the private router, whatever the name you want to give, you can give. So I just want to add router. When I put router, automatically he loads that component here. These are all component area. Module area is outside. If the components are available within the module needs to be loaded, then only components are visible. Components are directly not visible, right? So login, and then so login here, this dot router within bracket, sorry, not navigate, within navigate, I just now move to login. This login is already registered. I don't have to re-register it here. It is already part of this app component, because in app component routing module, we are calling now this area. So login, and it loads the login module. So he dissociates the login from memory. He creates the register module, and vice versa according to the loading that you asked for. If you see the way it has got compiled, you can notice now ng-serve I just do. You can now see that lazy chunk files will started coming in, because we have added two modules here. Because we have added two modules are lazy components. So lazy components, since it is a lazy components, you will see a lazy chunk files. One is login module available, another is register module available. All these are available as part of my server data. So browser, when I try to access now, I'll go to the browser. By default, I just refresh the page. You can see now, you see this my app is 5 FS project is always visible. I'm going to the click on register button. You can see register works. Still my app is FS project is still available. Notice this. I hope you are noticing this. That header that I defined in the HTML always available, because the way I created this HTML is H1 below is router. Below is router outlet. Because it is below, right, it always gets loaded. So this is where you can use it as a header. You can do multiple things. You can say, for example, style, right? H1 is a block candidate. So background, say color, background color. I can choose, say, blue with dark white. I want to give it blue, and then color. Color is font color. I use white, because I just say dark blue. I don't know whether it is available or not. I just say dark blue. It is available. Dark blue. It is available. Underneath, I want to give a white color. So I just want to give a FS project, my project. I just give some good name, my project, right, as a header. And I given a background color. So background color is dark blue, given there. Save it. Now you can see here. I want to give little bit of more height. Then I can define that also here. Height say 60 pixel. Standard. This height is generally the header pixel is standard, but you can see that it is on the top. I want to align it at the center. So I can try with vertical align. I'm not sure whether it will work or not. Vertical align, semicolon, vertical align. I'm inside the vertical. I don't know why it is not coming. 6 pixel. Sorry, I entered the here. So I now vertical align. I don't know whether it will work or not. I'll just check. Vertical align center middle. Vertical align doesn't have a center. I think it is having a middle. Values, if I want to know, I can put it like this, middle. First, it doesn't have that impact. So vertical align, it doesn't work on this. So we can try something else, or you can give a margin. So margin auto, margin Margin auto is another classic example. I say auto and 10 pixel. Left and right 10 pixel, top and bottom auto margin. 10 pixel or 16 pixel I'll give. Auto means top and bottom. It will give automatically. Let me see whether. But what happens is the margin means it is left the space on the left hand side. I don't want that to happen. So then I'll use padding. Padding auto, left and right, put it like this. So you can see now end to end it is covering, but the text is 16 pixel. Padding right, left, sorry, padding 0 pixel, 16 pixel, but I'm not seeing that 16 pixel also. That is also, yeah, it is coming now. 16 pixel is coming. That is left hand side, it is left with 16 pixel. You can see it, but it is not. Not. It doesn't. So for top also, horizontal center also, it can be done through CSS. There are ways to do it. We'll see it as we go. So this is, since this header is permanent, you can see that will happen. This will available in all the pages. If I go back to login, that page is still available. Register, that page is still available. So that page is still available and it is always visible. So I can do that using this context. I can do this. Okay. So this is how you can define it. So in that way, I want permanently on the top, whether you do scroll, etc. Then I need to choose the relative, that is position, absolute, and then top 0, left 0. That means it is a full width. Inside that, I can align the project. For example, I just try here, span, put that inside the span my project. I just try this vertical align here, whether this works, because it is having a full space available. Style, vertical align, center. I just say try. I'm not sure whether it will work or not. I just try. So it doesn't. Leave it off at this point.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Can we try a style equal to justify hyphen content center?
Justify where? The inside or outside?
Inside H1 style equal to.
Okay, span I remove.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Directly we can give it inside the style. Justify
Style,
content.
I can give it as inside. Make sure that all the space and other things are removed. Style is already there. You want now justify, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Justify content.
Hyphen content.
Yeah.
Common center. That's all.
Yeah. It is already there. Let us see this. There are several ways. As of now, it is not effective because the reason is I'm assuming that because of the position relative, the position has to be obsolete to do certain aspects of justification. Anyway, we'll come to that as we go. So this is one simple thing, that how do you set your footer header across all the places of your routing, because this is a permanent now. I'm not removing it. Whichever page I move, you can see that I am getting that intact, getting that page intact. Just I want to communicate this. So this is what we have seen as of now. After this, we have included form field characters, etc. That form field also we have added something. So I want you to extend that practice. You create multiple components, try to move around the components. Make sure you understand this effectively, how routing works, how I have now done routing only through app routing. I have not included any of the login or register. Login or register, only self routing is there, component level routing. Module level routing is at the app component level. So I can create n number of routing there. So think about how to do a child routing inside routing. How do I create that? Think all this from your perspective. Keep yourself ready for all that. So tomorrow we'll take the further sessions. Happy Holi to all of you. Right? Do lot of CSS. There are a lot of things you can do it with CSS. Right? Different angle you think and then come back with your own way of defining your CSS. Please note, whenever you are putting it in the style or anything, any change you do, it is difficult to do because you have to do it in every place. That is where the style sheets are used. Preferably use the style sheets. Okay. I leave it at that today. We just had a quick review of whatever we have seen as on date. So tomorrow again we are going to see injection because it's a new concept tomorrow. That is why I thought of reviewing it, what we have learned as on date. New concept tomorrow, that is injection. Injection is basically a service oriented architecture. You started using the service and backend. So I'm having on REST API backend. How I communicate from front end to the backend through services. That services is nothing but an injectable module. We use the word injectable keyword that is used in the Angular concept. Right? So I stop at this point. I thanks all. Happy Holi to all of you. Bye. You can stop the recording. Thank you. Last 2 days video not uploaded. Please, Rajesh team, please take care of that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Thank you.
Today we will get. They will get. Okay.
Yeah, please. Yeah, thank you.